Peacock fans, my name is Jim Lowry, and you're watching another episode of Peacocks on the Prowl. Today I'm joined by Coach Tom Shea of the football team. Coach, it was a great weekend for you. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about it?
It was. Our young men came out and, we had a good performance against Northern and came away with a victory. And anytime you can win that first game, it sets a tone for the season, we think.
Now, your defense played very well. They did not give up a touchdown in the game, and they ended up with 3 turnovers. Can you kind of tell us about how the defense was shaping up going through that game?
Well, I tell you what, Coach Hoskins, our defensive coordinator, and Coach Wyatt, our defensive line coach, and Mike Kliniglia, our secondary coach, they did a tremendous job in game planning for this one. Our defensive line, we kept them fresh, we kept rotating, we played anywhere from 8 to 9. Defensive linemen in that ball game. Javelle Rollins did a tremendous job for us. Nate Romer played extremely well. JoJo Simpson, there's a number of them. Dakota Bastion, they all played well. They ran, they kept fresh, and did a good job. Our secondary, one of the question marks coming in was the corners because we graduated 2 very, very good young men last year, and we had Darius Cohn came in and did a great job, had a big interception for us, and Nick Corley came in. He played last year some for us, but now he's a starting role and a leader back there and did a great job, as did Tate Thompson and Marcus McCoy in the secondary. And then, as usual, you kind of expect Alex Wall to have a good game. He's just that kind of player. He's a leader out there. He led the team in tackles and did a great job. Cole Stephen did a great job back there in the secondary. Those guys ran around, and like you said, they did not give up a score. The offense put them in bad field position once, and the kickoff team put them in bad field position once, and they shut them down and ended up giving up the field goal. So, really, on paper, it's 6, but really they had a shutout. So it was a great defensive performance.
And your new quarterback, Dimitri Morales, looked really good running the offense?
Yeah, no, he did. Dimitri, he came in and played extremely well. He was a little jittery and things like that. He played 1 game last year and parts of a couple other ones, but the year before he had a great season, so everything was new. And when he settled down, he had some very, very good stats, and he moved the ball well, and he led the team well, and that's the important thing. The other thing I was really pleased with is he spread the ball around to a number of receivers. We had a number of people catch the ball and backs coming out of the backfield. So, he's looking at the field, and he's just going to get better. He's going to get better with, with experience and things. And overall, our offensive line, played a little bit better than I anticipated. They did a good job, and they were consistent all the way through. If I have one disappointment on that when we looked at it and graded film and we talked as a team yesterday was, we got in the red zone, we didn't put it in the end zone. We got to put it when we had one pass that was dropped a little bit behind. We had a penalty on another one that would have scored. Get in the red zone, we got to be able to put points on the board, and we were going for touchdowns, and we could have kicked the field goal. Brady Bouchel does a great job there, but we were looking to score, and we got to get more proficient in that if we're going to play in our league.
All right, Coach, and your punter, Nate Scary, had a great game, as well as the rest of the special teams.
Yeah,
why don't you kind of tell us what they were going on with?
You bet. He did a very good job, and this was probably the first game in a lot of years where we walked off the field and felt good about our punt team. We've had some shaky times over the years with our punt team, but they did a good job blocking, and Nate did a good job kicking, and one got over the receiver's head and went back, and we had great effort going downfield and stopping it on the 1-yard line, and for a 66-yard punt, I think he ended up with a 44, 46-yard average for the day. Did a good job. On the other side of the coin, our punt return, we got to clean a few things up. Did a good job, but our kickoff team, we didn't play well. That's a big emphasis if we can practice. We got to get better there.
All right, Coach. Now the game this weekend, you're going up to University of Mary. It's going to be a 1:00 kick, so another afternoon game. What are we kind of looking for from the Peacocks in that one?
Well, I tell you what, we need a good week of practice and good preparation and clean up some of the mistakes and then move on. But the University of Mary is a good football team. They got handled. They got handled last week by Sioux Falls, but they're a very, very good football team. Sioux Falls is an exceptional football team in our league, and making the trip up there is always a challenge. And then we got to get off the bus, and we got to be able to play on Saturday afternoon. But Mary will be ready. They're well coached. They've got a lot of good talent. Their defense flies around, and offense, they're going to spread the ball around. They're going to give it to a lot of people. So it's going to be a challenge. I think we're two very like teams. University of Mary and Upper Iowa now.
All right, Peacock fans. Well, you stay right there. That's all we have with Coach Tom Shea, but Coach Jason Hoskins will be joining us in just a moment. And we're back, Peacock fans. I'm joined now by defensive coordinator Jason Hoskins. Coach, it was an absolutely great game for the defense, not a touchdown allowed, and as Coach Shea put it, the field goals really weren't able to be hung on the defense as faults. What can you say about the play of your defense as a whole?
Well, the biggest thing that they did is they just kind of bought in and to what we were teaching them and really played well. And really the amount of effort that they put in, we just asked them to, hey, get out there, play as hard as you can, give us your very best, and that's kind of what they did. So I was really pleased with their effort. It was a hot day, but there was really no time in the game where I felt like we got wore down, we got tired. So that part of it was really good.
Moving from the back to the front, let's start with your defensive backs, which people thought might have been a point this year where you might have had some problems because you graduated almost your entire secondary. Darius Cohen had a great game, but the entire secondary in general just played tremendously. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Knigley has done a good job with those guys, our defensive backs coach, and I'll tell you what, those guys, after every series came in, we made some adjustments, and they played really well. Obviously, there were a couple of graduations to the corners last year. We brought in a couple of kids to help us out, Darius being one of them. He had a big game. He had a big interception in the end zone for us that really kind of got us rolling. And then he also had a big breakup on a 3rd down, 3rd and 4. And just overall, those guys played really well, tackled really well, which you asked those guys to do. I don't think we had any missed tackles in the secondary. And when you're able to do that, you got that last line of defense that kind of saves you. If they play well, obviously you're going to have a good day.
And then moving to the middle of the defense, your linebacking core played outstandingly, and led by Alex Wall, who himself had an interception on a nice crossing route that he jumped in front of. Can you kind of tell us about his play?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's one of our captains. He's been here a while, and to have a veteran guy like that anchor your defense in the middle, he gets us lined up, makes all our checks, and just his play, it really elevates our whole defense. So, we have a couple other guys there at linebacker, Cole Steven and Derek Hirschman that started for us. That Matt Sharp came in, gave us some meaningful snaps. Those 4 though, and I spent all my time with those 4 or all that whole group, but those guys really came in and played well. And when they had a play that they needed to make, they came up and made it. So we really played mistake-free football, and that's what I told the guys coming in. The team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win the football game, and we just happened to do that.
And speaking of anchors coaches, down in the trenches, your 2 defensive tackles, Javelle Rollins and Zach Reese, they both had outstanding games as well. How did the defensive line play in your opinion?
Yeah, Javelle Rollins and Zach Reese played really well for us inside, and really we won our football game up front with our defensive line. Those guys were able to suck up all the blockers up front. Each one of those guys has about 2 offensive linemen on them, so they're taking up all 4 of the blockers when those offensive linemen should be chipping up to our linebackers, so those guys are able to run free. And be honest with you, a lot of times they got off their blocks and were able to make plays. Some point during the middle of the game, Northern State had to switch around their offensive line, so they brought their tackles inside and they took their guards outside because they had to try to put their better kids inside to deal with Javelle and Zach, and still didn't work. Those kids played really well.
All right, Coach, now you're going up to University of Mary this weekend. What are you expecting from your defense in this coming game?
Really just to take the next step. Like I told the guys after the game, it's just one game. It's great to start off with a win, but you got to build on it. And coach's talk tells you find your biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2. So that's what we're trying to do, is just find a way to make ourselves better this week and find a way to go up there and get a W.
So there you have it, Peacock fans. Upper Iowa football away this weekend at University of Mary. You can follow all the stats and action on upperoiowaathletics.com. Until next time, I'm Jim Murray.